Now, 1972, this is no longer, this is one of the classics of all classics, finished, I think it was 2004, came out, and to me, this is just one of the great Glenrotheses. So it's got everything that you can expect an old whiskey to have, but it's not tart. It's still fresh, still got lots of lovely fruit in it, compotes, dried fruits, very enticing. It's a very sort of come hither style of whiskey. So it's a very friendly whiskey, and it's very much an after dinner whiskey. You can just tell it's got prunes and figs and sort of syrups of dried fruits in there, and it's definitely going to be an after dinner.
Can I ask you a question before we taste it? You know, sometimes when you nose a whiskey and you want to use the word sweet, how can you use a word sweet from the nose? What's that about? I mean,
question. How do you do? You should know it better than I probably on this, but it's association with sweet things. So you think fruits, you think dried fruits, and you think sweetness. I mean, your nose is picking out things associated with sweetness there.
I mean, you can smell maple syrup, honey.
I suppose that's right. You assume it's going to be quite oily or viscous or creamy, even on the nose, and yet that's not. I mean, I often write the word sweet, and then I think, what am I talking about?
No, people understand if you say sweet.
It's an association. It's honey sweetness.
But you can talk about the sweet-smelling flowers. You can talk about.
It's true.
So
sweet as opposed to acidic, isn't it? You know, if you put an apple in there and you smelt it, you wouldn't get sweetness. You're going to get a sort of you're going to get sweet sourness, aren't you?
So I have a question, because you mentioned this is among the best of the Glenrotheses. Is that plural?
Glenrothes.
Glenrothes expression.
Not even S. No, it's a yes. It's a fourth declension Latin noun. No, the plural is the same as the singular.
This is why you're a writer and I'm merely a blogger.
If you read any of my stuff in Latin, it's even worse.
Really?
Especially with an ES at the end. I don't think there's any Latin word with an ES.
Yeah, no, there are. But I think they might have Greek derivatives. But there are fourth declension. There are fourth declension nouns that repeat.
Fourth declension nouns sounds made up.
I can't remember what that means.
Not made up.
It sounds great, but there are fourth declension
nouns. Are
nouns.
they first, second and third?
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Bellum, which means war, is a first declension noun, and it goes to bella in the plural. Dominus is a second declension noun, it goes to domini, which is... And then the third one I can't remember, but it might be an A that goes to AE. Bella, belli, yeah. And then fourth declension is where the plural stays. So
this is the other thing. He's actually a Latin scholar. So.
That's interesting.
Better example of the third declension.
I'd be crucified because I would imagine, or crucifixi, because I would imagine, because that's 40 years old. That information. It's got to be 30. No, I did A level.
I'm sure Latin's older than that.
But yeah, I was going to say.
It won't have changed.
Precisely.
I haven't done a lot of revision, it has to be said. I don't think I'd get my O level.
Right, okay. Yeah. I did a speech in Berlin last week about music as culture, which is one of the things I talk about a lot. And there were representatives there from the Finnish national broadcaster, YLE, and they asked me to come and be on their board of music advisors, I think. So next month I'm being flown out to Helsinki to talk about music for the national broadcaster, which is cool. So I thought I'd do some research on YLE, and the first thing I found out was they're the only broadcaster in the world that does the news in Latin.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's Latin with a Finnish accent, which is really unusual.
It is. A few years ago, the Catholic Church had a synopsium thing, and they decided it would be very cool to be able to talk to each other in a language they all understood, so they decided to speak in Latin for the whole thing, and they had to give up after 2 hours because everybody's pronunciation was so different, nobody could understand each other. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.